Now we will cover the 10 C's of effective communication, which is they being clarity, conciseness, concreteness, correctness, completeness, consistency, confidence, creativity, courteousness, and consideration. And each of the students will cover one of the C's.
I'll be speaking about clarity. The term itself is self explanatory. So it means you have to have clarity in thoughts and words and clarity inside yourself what you want to convey. The way you go about it is using simple and common words and something it's which the other person can understand. You have to be clear and specific in your messages. You can't be vague in that, and uh, it should be important that it should be easy to understand. You should keep it as simple as possible without using any complex words. And what you should also avoid is using wordy sentences. Including more words just makes it difficult to understand. Uh, the examples are given as a wrong the the complex example is we considered the consequences of the existing policy on the risk management strategies we employ with our risk and compliance department and updated them accordingly. This is a really wordy sentence and insanely difficult to understand. The alternative, a good alternative would have been we updated the risk and compliance policies, which is easier to understand and clear for everyone. That's it.
So the next C is about the conciseness of the sentences of the communication. So what it should be like, the sentence or whatever we want to speak, it should be short, clear, and brief. Like it shouldn't be wordy, as Anirudh said, and it shouldn't contain some redundant words like which are not useful, and there shouldn't be much repetition also. And whatever we want to say, it should provide proper essential information, and it should also be relevant. The information we want to provide should be relevant, like the something random shouldn't be included. And also it should be appealing, as well as it should be easy to understand. And so what we should avoid is irrelevant information, and also something which is not easily comprehensible for someone. So this is too long and wordy instruction, and it has a bit repetition also. So the actual thing should be mandatory government regulations for COVID, and point wise mention: wear masks, sanitize hands, follow social distance.
Another one of the important C's in communication is concreteness in the information that we give. Instead of giving vague, abstract information, it is always better to be accurate and specific, especially in workplaces. Always have data and proof to support your statement, instead of to avoid misinterpretation and to avoid vagueness. So instead of saying that the sales number of ABC team are on the low side and the numbers need to be raised, it would be better if we would be more specific and say that the sales conversion rate of the ABC team is below 40%. We need to aim for 50% or higher in the next quarter. Let's plan a strategy meet. Always try to be more specific and accurate with the data.
The information which you provide, it should be correct. It should not contain any spelling errors or grammar errors or punctuation errors. And the language and words which you use, they should be appropriate for the situation you are using them for. The data and figures and the facts which you are representing, they should be correct and concise. You should not give a vague idea of the data which you are representing. So, for example, instead of saying subsequent to our conservation on Monday, I wanted to let you know that about 200 to 300 people have registered for the data science conference. You can say it like, subsequent to our conversation on Monday, I wanted to let you know that 200 people have registered for the data science conference. So here you see you made a spelling error in the word conversation, and you give a vague idea of the number of people who are going to attend the conference. So that way you should make your communication correct.
So the next C of communication is complete or completeness. So whatever you're saying, it should be complete. The message should be complete, and it should be to the point. And whatever data that you wanted to convey,
all the points must be covered and they must be presented in a proper way that uh, no more questions will be arised afterwards. And also uh, you must also cover the supporting information based on the potential questions that may arise in the future. So by taking precaution of having supporting information, it would avoid any future questions. And yeah, for example, if I say monthly system shutdown for maintenance will happen tomorrow, back up all your work. You don't know at what time it is happening, and the questions that might arise are at what time, when, how long is it going to happen. Instead, we can say that monthly system shutdown for maintenance is at 2 p.m. on Saturday, Feb 26, 2022 for 30 minutes. Please back up all your work prior to that.
The next C of communication is consistency. A message and data should be consistent with each other, and it should be continuous so as to build a certain amount of credibility. Data should not be inconsistent, and the facts should develop upon each other. If the data is inconsistent, it raises confusion and might cause a failure within the team. To handle this, there should be a communication schedule for the team, and regular updates must be given. If there is no communication schedule or no regular updates, it could be like the information that is given to a team member would be outdated or something. Usually what happens in a team is like communication happens only when someone raises a question, or if there's a concern or some conflict is there between the team members. It shouldn't be like that. It should be more proactive and responsive. Every team member should be known to what's happening inside the team. For example, a team should have a communication schedule. Like, say, every week on Friday, this time should be fixed so that the team members can be updated on what should happen on that week, what happened on the previous week, and the targets that are to be achieved.
The next C of communication is confidence. So at any given point of time, confidence help, especially in a position of leadership, being confident helps all your teammates and your peers go through particularly difficult times or even in any uncertain situations. Confidence is the ability to express yourself freely and creatively. Be firm and assertive and to the point, and using words of power and something that means a lot of more profound things. That would be something that would help all the team members be prepared and practice beforehand. What you should avoid ideally is to use words like I am actually I have some important work and some leave. So this kind of body language would be detrimental to the way you speak, and it would instill a sense of lack of confidence amongst your team members. It would undermine your stature as a leader. Instead, if you want to communicate something to someone, let's say as an example, Ravi, I have some important personal work I need to attend to. I would like 2 days of leave on the 24th and 25th. This would be both concise and confident. So nervous errors, ums, ahs, all of these have to be avoided. That's all.
So I will be covering the eighth C, that is creative and creativity. So let's start with an example. Good morning, everyone. My talk today is on how to make hay while the sun shines. The 5 steps to be followed are. So in this, I am kind of monotonous, and it won't get you like interested or something. Whereas, let me say the same thing in other way. Good morning, everyone. Once upon a time, there were two friends, an aunt and a cricket, and etc. etc. So this, I had humor, stories, and like we can use some quotes as well to make people interested in what we are saying. If we're monotonous, no one is going to listen, and everyone's going to sleep. That's it.
The next C we are going to talk about is about courtesy. So let me tell this about with an example. So this is not what it is supposed to be. You're always doing things wrong. Work on it again. So this sentence could be told in some other good manner, like there is some rework that needs to be done. Let's go through the work to see what changes need to be done. So While saying something, always be humble, sincere, enthusiastic, respectful, and honest. Use words with positive energy, be appreciative and tactful, and always give constructive feedback. Never be rude and impolite. Also, never use words with low and negative energy. Never hurt someone, and don't be passively aggressive. These are something which you shouldn't be doing.
So the final C of communication is consideration. I feel like this is the most important C, because without consideration, communication can become miscommunication. Consideration essentially means stepping into the shoes of another person. So when you're communicating, it's important to consider the feelings of the receiver, their mindset, and you should be perspective. You should carry the perspective of the listener as well. So whoever's communicating, he or she should seek to understand and emphasize with the receiver. You should try to avoid being self-centered and harsh in your communication. So, like for example, if a manager says to his colleagues that he's going to make changes without consulting with them, it can come off as being harsh. But if he says that if he asks for their opinions, and if he asks beforehand if they're okay with the changes, then that's an example of a considerate communication.
Thanks everyone for sharing the 10 C's of effective communication.